In today's video, I am sharing with you a step-by-step tutorial of my best-selling custom art that I have created for several influencers and celebrities. Let's jump right in. So it's all going to start with this silicone mold because this clock is essentially going to be a cast, and I'm using this 40 centimeter deep silicone mold that I have. And the first thing I want to do is put down a layer of clear epoxy resin, and I have gone ahead and mixed up my Jade Kitchen Officials resin. Links in the description along with my discount code. And this clock I'm going to be making upside down, if that makes sense. It'll make sense once you see the whole process, but there's two ways of doing this and I am doing it upside down. So the front is actually going to be the bottom when we unmold it. So anyway, so the clear layer is just going down, nothing too exciting about that. I'm going to let that become ever so slightly tacky and come on to add some spices because things are about to get spicy.
Later that same evening.
Coming from an Indian heritage, my kitchen is stocked with spices and I love them. So this clock literally celebrates all of those flavors, all of those bold spices, and I have some right here. I have some chilies, I have some fennel seeds, some fenugreek seeds, some cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, all of it, bay leaves, and on here we're just going to be chucking them in. Now these are some of the bigger bits. I am going to come on and put some smaller seeds and stuff in, but for now I'm just laying out these bigger bits in, placing them where I like them aesthetically, kind of balancing them out around the whole surface, color-wise and size-wise and what have you. But, you know, don't overthink this, just have fun with it. Now that I have some bits down, I have now got out the little things like cumin seeds, sesame seeds, mustard seeds, and all sorts. Really, honestly, I have just raided my spice cupboard and I'm getting everything out. Okay, so having said that, when I say everything, I mean everything that's dry. So when casting food in epoxy resin, you want to make sure that it's all dry because you cannot have any moisture content in resin when you cast it, because literally it will look good for a minute and then, well, not a minute, but a few days, and then it will start to rot inside of the resin. And trust me, that is not a good picture. So anything that's dry, you are fine to put into resin, and all of these spices are dry. So yeah, just don't put anything fresh in there which has moisture. And that's me again, just dotting bits around until I'm happy with the coverage. You can go as much or as little with this as you like. I personally do like a fuller appearance, so that's what I'm going for. Now that I'm happy with how much I have, I'm going to leave this to cure and I will be back probably the next day now for the next layer.
The next day.
Okay, so it's the next day and we are ready for the layer number 2 on this, and I'm mixing up some clear epoxy resin again with some silver leaf in it. This is just your regular silver leaf. I've taken, I think, a couple of sheets in there and I am just mixing that, making sure I have sort of smallish chunks of the silver leaf, and literally it's a case of dumping this in. So now you've probably noticed, but this clock is basically layer upon layer upon layer, and I think that just makes it really beautiful and creates that depth and brings out all of those layers in the final piece. So this is layer number 2. Nothing special. We're just putting this down, spreading it out all the way to the edge and leaving this to cure.
Much later.
Okay, so it's been about 5.5 hours. We are ready for the layer number 3. And for that, I'm going for white opaque-ish, I would want to say. It's probably not the most opaque white, but it's kind of opaque. And it's literally just white opaque layer, and this is what's going to be the base or the background of the spices and the silver leaf. And I've always done it white. I suppose you could do it black, but or actually maybe not black, because I have put in a lot of like seeds and spices that are dark in color, so you probably won't see those. But I suppose you could do this any color, but personally I have always done this type of projects on a white background. just because they bring out those colors of those amazing spices. So we're just going to spread this out and leave this to cure, and we will be back the next day for layer number 4.
The following day.
Okay, so we are ready for the 4th layer, and for this one, I want to add this wood ring on the side of this. And this is purely just for support. I mean, this is going to be a pretty chunky and thick clock, but even so, I want to add in a little bit of that supportive wood in there, just so that there's no warping or bending of this clock. So adding that, this is just for support purposes, nothing else. And then the other thing I want to add now in this layer is this silicone insert. And this is basically a silicone insert for your clock mechanism to go in. And this particular one is from Art for Start. I will link her in the description below. And I'm just going to basically put the ring down, put this insert, and then do another layer of white epoxy resin, just like we did previously.
Much later.
Okay, so our clock is now dry. One thing I did do before it cured was I did go ahead and put in my branding logo at the back. Again, optional step. I just like to do that so that it's nice and embedded in the epoxy resin. And it is time to unmold. So I will go ahead and take out this mechanism insert first, and there are some sharp edges around there which I'm going to go ahead and trim down with my deburring tool later. Now to actually unmold and reveal the clock face, and I hope you're excited to see this because I absolutely love this style of art. I mean, I've made so many of these as turntables, as clocks, as all sorts, trays, and honestly I think it looks stunning. I mean, look at that. Now, I know you can't quite clearly see this against my white matte background, but just take my word for it, it's beautiful, and hopefully you will get to see it better in the final shots. But there's a lot more we have to do on this, so let's move on. So next, we are going to go ahead and drill our hole for our clock spindle, shaft, one of them, whatever you call it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Also, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you like, comment, sub, and leave me a comment if you love this as much as I do. And what would you have this as? Would you have it as a clock? Would you have it as a tray? Let me know in the comments. So next, I want to go ahead and edge this. And there's, again, several ways of doing it. And I have as well done it various ways previously. You could just round over the edges with a router and leave it as it is, or you could paint it, or you could, there's so many things you can do, or you could do what I'm doing here, which is I'm adding this silver edge banding to it. Now, this edge banding comes with an adhesive on already, so all you have to do is cut it to size and then go around and place it. And if you're still worried about it coming off the clock, don't worry, because we're going to go ahead and top coat it. So that is going to make sure that all of it, the banding and the clock and all of it, is sealed together as one piece.
A few moments later.
Now that that's out of the way, we are going to go ahead and fit the clock numerals on, and I'm using this guide that will help me put these. And once again, I'm using these mirrored acrylic Roman numerals, and I've only decided to put the 12, 3, 6, and 9. Again, do this any way you like, no right or wrong way of doing this. These also come with a sticky back adhesive on the back, so it's just nice and easy. Peel it off, put it back on. Once these are on, I'm gonna just go ahead and peel the film off these, and then we are ready for our final top coat. I like to use my hands to drag the resin onto the edge, just touching that edge banding that we put on, so you get a nice rounded clean finish. Now I am going to go ahead and put this little silicone tool that I have in the hole that we made earlier, just to make sure we don't end up closing it. I mean, if you do end up closing it with a top coat, you can drill again, but I just thought I will stick this in. It's silicone anyway, so hopefully once my top coat is dry, I can just pull it out. quick torch and we can just leave this to cure.
One eternity later.
My top coat is now dry and we are ready to put the fittings on, and I'm going to clumsily put on my clock hands and we are ready for the reveal. And this is what this is looking like. Like I said, I absolutely love this. I think it would make such good like tableware and table mats, even a clock in the kitchen just like this one, a turntable, all sorts. Really love it. Let me know what you think in the comments and I shall see you in the next video. Bye.